Ditch was a 34-year-old bald man who managed to go down in history as the absolute worst TikToker ever spawned on social media. This guy called the police on his own parents dozens of times, claiming they didn't take care of him.
You deny me my test kit for sugar, my medications that is at your house, my property, and my medical rights.
Oh, that's good, Andy. You know, two can play this game too, because right now, I'm doing the same.
And you're probably thinking, what kind of care does a grown man need? Surely at 40, you're not out here expecting someone to change your diapers, right? Well, what if he did want exactly that?
Please! I don't want diapers anymore! Please! You're forcing me to do something I don't want because you're
Andy.
Yeah, don't be shocked just yet, because Andrew, affectionately or maybe disgustingly known as Poop Squatch, has earned the title of the most disturbing human to ever grace the internet. He used his poor parents as unwilling props for his content, and didn't even hesitate to poison their food for attention. But despite everything, his aging parents always stood by him, because unfortunately, that's what parental love does. It's unconditional, even when your kid turns into a full-blown diaper-wearing menace.
I don't need your help.
It makes it
you
easy
said.
for me to get it out.
You said that I don't need help. I used to do this stuff all myself.
What are you
You're
stop
gonna
twisting things
disturb
you never
the
said?
neighbors.
Disturbing you
because
on
if you're
recording,
misbehaving.
so-
Yeah, Andy, I'm
Uncontrollable
recording too.
Crap.
Yeah, well, I want that thrown away. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't have autism.
So, you're still curious about Andrew Ditch, so brace yourself, because we're diving deep into the story of this 300-pound adult baby who took family dysfunction and cranked it up to horror movie levels. His poor elderly parents and long-suffering siblings had front row seats to his insane theater of chaos. Whether they liked it or not, look how this poor baby is crying.
Dad, you keep promising me. Oh my God. Oh.
Let's start with the unforgettable "I'm pooping myself" declaration. Yup, he actually said that. There was a video when he was muttering and pacing around, looking like he's trying to calm himself down from some imagined slight, when suddenly he proudly announces to the universe that he's in the process of soiling his diaper. No warning, no shame, just pure rubbish.
You pulling me!
He freaking threw
You pulling me! You pulling me, and the cops allow you to do it to me!
Okay, Google, turn on living room light.
Can you go upstairs? Please,
No.
I feel cornered!
No. No.
Please, I want to be left alone. You...
Just in case it does something.
Dad, I want to be left alone.
It's one of those moments that makes you question whether you're witnessing a surreal, twisted performance or a real, full-on mental unraveling. Either way, you can't look away. And let's not forget his obsession with infantilization. We're talking about a man who would conduct diaper wetness tests on camera and throw full-scale tantrums if anyone dared treat him like the adult he so obviously was not.
To throw out my diapers. I have a right to throw out my medications. I was allowed to throw out my medications pill by pill, but I'm not allowed to throw out my diapers because...
But wait, it gets so much worse. Let's roll back the clock to his childhood, where the seeds of this human disaster were planted. Andrew wasn't just a difficult kid. He was the poster child for nightmare offspring. Multiple hospitalizations for violent outbursts and threats, and not your average "my kid had a bad day" incidents. Nope, we're talking about serious assaults, including one time his dad Tom ended up hospitalized and suspected Andrew had slipped antifreeze into his drink. It was never proven, but just the fact that the family even had to consider the possibility speaks volumes about the atmosphere in their house. And can you imagine the paranoia, knowing that your own flesh and blood might be plotting your demise over a bowl of cereal?
You're calm.
You're instigating me, and you're being allowed to do this to me, and I'm
No,
asking
we're
you
not
to
allowed to.
please
You're not
throw
allowed
it
to do
out.
You're right.
I don't want it anymore.
Well, you don't have a choice in the matter when you misbehave like
I
that.
don't want
we have
them
to do what we
anymore,
have to do.
please.
And then there's the PTSD diagnosis. and those countless desperate interventions. The police knew the Ditch family on a first-name basis because calling 999 was practically a routine part of their daily life. Andrew's aggression wasn't some passing teenage rebellion. It was a full-blown, long-lasting pattern that only escalated with age. And the family? Stuck in this grim cycle of trying to be supportive while simultaneously fearing for their own safety.
Don't get off out of my room because you're not welcome up here.
I need to get away from you.
It doesn't matter. You either
Get
go
away
outside
from me or I'm going,
or you
please.
sit in the living room while we finish eating, and then we'll be out of your way. We need to go.
You say that every
Andy,
single night.
follow
and we'll be
instructions.
Until you come up.
No, Andy, get off my bed.
Now, you'd think that after years of this madness, Andrew would mellow out or at least reach some level of self-awareness. But no, he became an adult who mastered the art of manipulation. He weaponized his illnesses, twisting every moment into an opportunity to play the victim and make everyone else feel responsible for his spiraling meltdowns.
You know what? Put me on 941 because I'm going to run away from the house, from the hospital.
No, Andy, come on.
I'm running away. You can't hold me hostage.
Come on.
You
Andy.
can't hold me hostage.
We're not holding you hostage,
You're
but we
holding
need
me
you to.
hostage.
We need you to
You're
go.
holding me hostage.
We need you to go down to the
You're
ED.
holding me hostage. Oh, you abused me.
Andy.
You abused me.
Why are we doing this?
You abused.
His entire existence was an elaborate performance where he was always the wronged party, and everyone else just villains in his warped little universe. And let's be real, if you ever suspected that your son might have tried to poison you, would you ever sleep peacefully again? Exactly.
Mom is on the floor. She fell right off the toilet. The past 2 days I was taking it easy for my emotions.
And to be more clear about his personality, let's rewind to 2005. Picture Andrew Ditch, a young man in his early 20s, cruising around on his bike near Fletcher and Hines in New York, probably minding his own business, or knowing him, brewing up some scheme. His parents, Tom and the missus, are just sitting down for a nice peaceful dinner, and then comes the phone call. This is the "your son is lying in the street, face smashed up, might not make it" kind of call.
What is the address? Hello?
Help me, please! Help me, please! My dad's hurting my ears! I'm at home! Please save me!
Tom on
Total stomach drop moment. So they rush over and find Andrew, looking like he's just been run over by a truck. Literally. Bloody, broken, barely conscious. A hit and run had turned their lives upside down. And though he survived, they were left with what doctors would later call a possible concussion and some serious facial injuries.
You hurt my back! You hurt my back! I'm leaving! I'm leaving! I'm leaving!
Andy, we're trying to.
I'm leaving! I want to leave! I want to leave!
Now, if you're thinking this sets the stage for some tear-jerking, inspiring comeback story, spoiler alert, think again. The medical pros reassured the Ditch family that Andrew would have a rough patch. Sure, bruises, a concussion, but nothing long-term. But did that stop Andrew from milking the accident for every last drop of sympathy? Of course not. Before this chaotic event, believe it or not, our boy Andrew was actually functional.
Off the chair, and she's going to bend
She does a
over.
lot of things. That's why I say you gotta watch her.
She's like grandma.
Andy, please.
Well, Mom, you don't do anything. You lay in bed all
Andy, so
day.
do you. So be quiet, please.
I lay.
You don't do much of either or anything
The
either.
past 2 days I was taking.
I know, hard to imagine. He even ran a small computer business from home and had an impressive Better Business Bureau rating. Yeah, this diaper-obsessed Menace was once a tech-savvy entrepreneur. Oh, and he was an amateur meteorologist. Apparently so good he worked with actual professionals, spotting storms and whatnot. Hobbies, responsibilities, a dash of normalcy. Wild, right?
Hurt me! I want to get my sneakers, please!
Yeah, he dumped the cranberry juice all the way. He dumped his cranberry juice down there. into the dog food, destroying the dog food. No.
I'm scared of you,
I don't
Dad.
care what you think you are.
But post-accident, the narrative took a bizarre nosedive. Suddenly, Andrew claimed he had brain damage and lost all motivation. The former weather-watching, computer-fixing Andrew vanished. His dad, Tom, would reminisce about the days when his son actually contributed to society, as if talking about a rare species that had gone extinct.
Police should have you removed, Andy.
Good, do so. I want you to.
Then get out!
Stop!
Then move.
Andrew stopped getting out of bed and started leaning heavily into his newfound injury. But his most notable achievements, his computer gigs and meteorology adventures, happened after the accident. So was this crash really to blame, or did Andrew just find the world's best excuse to become a human train wreck? The timeline is murky, and honestly, even Sherlock Holmes would be stumped.
On the floor.
I don't want you to do this to me anymore. You bully me and you get away with it. I want to throw up my diapers. I don't want help anymore because he said I used to do all this shit. So please throw it away.
And then there's the thing that really puts Andrew on the map, the diapers. This man isn't just incontinent. Nope, that would be far too simple. We're talking full-on unsettling diaper obsession. He doesn't just wear them, he turns them into a whole twisted performance art piece. You see, Andrew has this thing called wetness tests, when he proudly displays his soaked diapers on camera, grabs a tissue, dabs it on the diaper, and then presents the evidence to the camera like he's expecting a gold medal in the Wet Olympics. And just to make it even grosser, he doesn't wash his hands. I mean, we've all heard of oversharing, but this takes things to a level that makes you want to bleach your eyeballs.
Let me tell you.
Until I get.
He doesn't even let me talk.
You don't let anybody else talk, Andy.
Andrew talks about his incontinence in ways that would make a seasoned psychiatrist consider a career change. His language isn't medical or factual, it's fetishized. He rambles on about wetness with an enthusiasm that makes you wonder if you stumbled into the dark corners of the internet. Even his most devoted viewers are left slack-jawed. And while he's broadcasting these diaper confessions, he's busy ranting about how his family refuses to treat him like a baby. He expects his elderly parents and siblings to wait on him hand and foot, diaper changes and all. The entitlement is truly something to behold.
Let me tell you.
Until I get.
He doesn't even let me talk.
You don't let anybody else talk, Andy.
He's putting me down.
You to encourage yourself.
You're not doing it the way to help me. You're doing it to hurt my feelings.
No, that's the way I was taught.
Then don't do it
You
that
fall,
way.
you pick yourself back
Then
up,
don't do
and you
it,
start
please. You're
all
hurting my
over
feelings
again.
by saying it the
How
way
can
you
I be
are.
hurting his feelings by trying
But
to...
they don't know how to do this stuff.
If you want to throw them out, we'll throw them out on Monday. We're not going to go crumping them up. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, but we're not done. The piece de resistance of Andrew's diaper drama? The infamous motel incident. After a heated argument with his parents, Andrew stormed out and checked into a nearby motel. And what did he do to mark the occasion? He smeared feces all over the walls, creating a scene that even the most battle-hardened crime scene cleaners would find revolting. And like the true showman he is, Andrew filmed the aftermath. He proudly boasted about his artistic expression, claiming he had never needed a diaper change before, but was making a grand poop-themed point. You can't make this stuff up.
Uses to communicate with people. While you may think it would only say small phrases or tidbits, it actually starts signing a long monologue when Andy presses the button. It's just perplexing when you think about Andy sitting in his room typing out this huge speech while everyone at his house is asleep, but he's planning to deliberately annoy his brother. This behavior is extremely confusing.
And I must say, Andrew Ditch was a master manipulator. This guy has a talent for turning the simplest of interactions into a drama so absurd, even daytime soap operas would roll their eyes. His favorite pastime? Whipping out his phone to record his frail, exhausted parents, then slicing and dicing the footage to make himself look like the most persecuted soul on the planet. The videos he posts are likely highly edited highlight reels where his elderly parents come off as heartless villains, while he, the big diaper damsel in distress, is just trying to survive.
spiking his family's food with dangerous levels of Epsom salts and laxatives. 7 Eyewitness News reporter Ala Arabi tells us.
Take his endless actions of abuse. Andrew's got a library of clips where he claims his parents are neglecting him, denying him medication, or refusing to take care of his every need. What he conveniently edits out, though, are the scenes where he's smashing household items, launching into wild tantrums, or, threatening his own family. In Andrew's twisted universe, he's always the tragic hero. And the years of trauma his family has suffered at his hands? Barely a footnote.
He said I'm not autistic. I want to have my brother arrested. I want Dad's house. I don't want my diapers. Dad, I want to be left alone. You're bullying.
When the drama hits peak levels and the police inevitably get called, because trust me, it happens more often than you'd think, Andrew transforms into what only I can describe as a self-proclaimed legal savant. He spews legal jargon with the confidence of someone who definitely didn't just Google civil liberties 5 minutes earlier. He'll lecture the cops about constitutional rights, human rights violations, and throw out enough legalese to make a law professor cringe. One moment he's crying and pleading, looking as helpless as can be, and the next he's barking demands for a court order, as if he's preparing to sue everyone in sight. Oh, and let's not skip over his self-diagnosed autism. Yup, Andrew loves to parade around the idea that his behavior is all a result of being on the autism spectrum. Except, and here's the kicker, the Office of People with Developmental Disabilities would like a word. Their official report says Andrew has never ever been diagnosed with autism.
Happy. But I'm not allowed to throw out my diapers because you guys are depriving me of my civil rights. I'm sorry, I asked for a shelter.
He's got an IQ of 80 and some processing disorders, sure, but no credible doctor has ever given him that diagnosis. But does that stop Andrew from using it as his go-to excuse for every outburst and tantrum? Of course not. Critics, and some medical professionals too, have speculated that what he really has might be something called Munchausen syndrome, where a person fakes or exaggerates illnesses for attention. Makes sense, considering how much he loves to document every sniffle and ache like he's starring in his own medical drama.
I don't have to. You're not, it's a court order?
We want to know if we can press charges because this is our home and it's bothering our breathing.
You didn't ask me to turn off.
Could you stop shining that light in my face?
I can.
But if you really want a snapshot of just how manipulative and downright horrifying Andrew can be, let's talk about the infamous oil diffuser incident. March 13th, 2020, a date that will forever be seared into his parents' memories. By then, Andrew has fully embraced his so-called coping mechanisms, one of which was an oil diffuser loaded with eucalyptus oil. Sounds harmless, right? Aromatherapy, a little soothing scent? Well, not so much when your mom is oxygen dependent and has severe breathing problems. The eucalyptus oil turned their home into a choking gas chamber, making it nearly impossible for poor Janet to breathe. But Andrew in all of his glory refused to turn the diffuser off, because hey, who cares if mom's gasping for air when you've got coping skills to maintain?
It's 10 p.m. Friday, March 13, 2020. Mom called police because Andy had oil diffuser on, trying to keep relaxed from my dad yelling and not giving me sensory break when I had to take a little break to try to be able to do, set the table and clear the table.
When the police showed up, Andrew was in rare form. He didn't back down or show an ounce of concern. Nope, he dug in deeper, grilling the officers on whether their requests to turn off the diffuser were legally binding. He argued like a petulant child, demanding to know if they had the right to infringe on his well-being. The whole scene was a circus act of defiance and self-importance, complete with Andrew shouting about human rights violations while his poor mother wheezed in the background. The cops, who had clearly been dragged into the ditch family drama before, had to listen to this adult baby rattle off complaints as if he were the most oppressed person on earth.
You have a right.
That's how you're gonna be.
I'm asking to leave. I have a right to leave.
Before you leave after that crap.
I'm sorry, but you can't hold me against my will. I'm asking to leave. And I'm glad to to be arrested.
Assaults a man in a disgusting way in front of a police officer, then asks to please leave. In a nutshell,
That night was nothing short of a living nightmare for Tom and Janet. Their son, the very person they'd spent years sacrificing for, was weaponizing their vulnerabilities against them. Janet, oxygen deprived and terrified, and Tom, exhausted beyond belief, were trapped in a horrifying reality where Andrew cared only about his own comfort. And the worst part? He seemed to relish the chaos, digging his heels in and refusing to budge, even when the situation could have ended tragically. That incident perfectly illustrates Andrew's need for control. It was never just about the oil diffuser. It was about asserting dominance, making sure his frail, elderly parents knew who was really in charge.
Felony charges, accused of spiking the food of several of his family members. Police say 34-year-old Andrew Ditch put Epsom salts and laxatives in the food and the water reservoir of the family's coffee machine.
That's why they were called the Ditch Dump by the internet. And just when you think this saga can't get any darker, we come to late October 2019. Andrew, ever the beacon of healthy family dynamics, decided to commit an act so sinister it belongs in a true crime documentary. He poisoned his own family. Yeah, he laced the household food and coffee with laxatives and Epsom salts, turning their digestive systems into a war zone. Tom and Janet and even Joe were left doubled over in agony, suffering from extreme diarrhea, stabbing abdominal pain, and nausea that would make the strongest among us cry.
Knew something was wrong when they all started to suffer from nausea, abdominal pain, and severe diarrhea. Ditch was arraigned and is being held on $5,000 bail. He will return to court tomorrow for a felony.
Naturally, the police in Tonawanda got involved. Andrew was arrested and charged with multiple felonies, including 2 counts of attempted assault. And you'd think that would be the end of it, right? Justice served? Ha! Andrew's bail was set at a laughable $5,000, and after just 30 days behind bars, he was right back at the ditch dump, acting like he hadn't just played a game of Russian roulette with his family's gastrointestinal systems. The aftermath was as infuriating as you'd expect. Instead of disowning him or at least locking the doors, his parents welcomed him back, a decision that's as baffling as it is heartbreaking. So what's driving Andrew Ditch? Is it a desperate need for attention, a twisted craving for sympathy, or some master strategy to dodge adult responsibilities? Whatever it is, he's turned his life into a circus, starring himself as the diapered anti-hero while everyone else gets trapped in his chaos. Your call? Sympathy or pure frustration?